would you rather eat? A baby goat
A
or a
baby
matter
goat?
baby?
A matcha baby.
A matter baby.
Matter baby.
What is a matter baby?
Listen, baby, what's the matter with you?
That was negative prison. That wrong. This is On Deck, brought to you by the Bosun. I am Kei Tagabucba.
And I'm Icy Suarez.
And I'm Michelle Avila. And today we are discussing ChatGPT as everyone's secretary. So guys, what do you feel is the reputation of ChatGPT right now?
Well, honestly, I feel like it's just been a tool for a lot of the students nowadays because it has made life easier in terms of academics and just making like requirements very simple for most of us.
But honestly, from the perspective of a professor, I feel like most teachers do view it, it's a cheating tool for students. Students just use it to like escape their academics.
I feel like most teachers are very skeptical about ChatGPT, and that it's like at one point it's like they always threaten it against students. Like, by the way, we have ChatGPT detectors, and it's like, come on, trust me.
My source, trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro.
Because I have like profs nowadays, like being a freshman, and in their CAS declaration forms, they've been like saying, okay, so one of the added policies, like don't use ChatGPT, you know.
Like it's specifically stated on the integrity forms, like uses of AI, specifically like ChatGPT, and it's like, that's interesting.
So like, guys, how do you use ChatGPT?
Okay. I have first-hand experience, and it's legal. Okay. So my course is media and entertainment management. So of course we are in media. And actually, in one or few exercises, we were instructed to use ChatGPT to help us like construct ideas for like a film and things like that, and like to help gather information. So like on the part of like research and like gathering data and stuff, it was actually genuinely helpful. That it like summarized essentially what we needed, and it also like linked us to the sources. Although I'm gonna get into that because sometimes it's like delusional with the sources. Like sometimes you click it and it doesn't exist. But anyway, but on the other hand, on like the more creative side, when we tasked it to like give us ideas for like films or like ideas for like a creative presentation, it just didn't give us anything that we didn't already know. And sometimes the ideas were also straight up, they weren't bad. They weren't, I'm gonna say, guys, they weren't lucrative.
Just questionable.
They were questionable.
The 50-50.
Yeah, so I don't know. There are like two sides to ChatGPT, but then with that experience, like it teaches us a lot for a free service.
Yeah.
It does teach us a lot that it can be really helpful, but also it has its limitations.
It has its limits. How about you, Keith?
Me personally, I don't use ChatGPT. I use that other AI character. I know I'm not gonna briefly explain it, but in a third person perspective though, I've seen a lot of my blockmates who use ChatGPT, and I'm just like amazed. Like a simple outline like that can take, let's say, 2 days. In an instant, boom, it's already there. So sometimes it tempts me, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it tempts me to use it, but at the same time it's kind of questionable because it challenges like the hard work some people or students actually do. Because you can like something like say a reading, to summarize a reading, some students really take their time to understand the text, and some people are just like, I'm just gonna summarize it ChatGPT, I'm not in the mood for this. Then again, ChatGPT helps because it releases they call this, it lessens the time. And while it also provides proper explanation for a lot of like heavy base text. How about you? How do you use ChatGPT?
Personally, how I use it recently was that I'm a political economy student. So a lot of my papers, I have to do references to like current government procedures or like legislations. So it's so useful because there's so much laws right now. It's so hard to like summarize all of them. So how I used it was like, I think for last semester, I just asked ChatGPT to give me all laws related to a certain topic. So like laws related to electronic vehicles in general. And so like it gave me the laws and then a brief description of the laws, and it's so helpful to get information. But then I feel like the limits of ChatGPT based on my experience is that it's not reliable in the sense that when you ask for like something more substantial, it's really not reliable. Like there's another AI platform called ChatPDF.
Okay.
wherein like you could transport like a PDF file of like your readings. You can put in your reading in chat PDF. The AI reads it, and then you can ask it questions. So you can ask it basic stuff like what is, like, example, neoclassicalism, discussing in political economy, like something like that. It can answer it, but then when you ask like more in-depth stuff like what is the connection between this and this, it starts failing. It's like a bit lacking, like it's very base level, and then it's like, as a student, I feel like that will never be enough. So yeah, for me personally, I just use it for like basic level stuff.
I see. Then to move on, what do you guys think are the benefits of ChatGPT in general?
In general.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, it maximizes efficiency.
Yeah,
That's
for
like
sure.
that's like the main thing of ChatGPT. I'm not going to get into like, oh, it's like creating essays or like doing your assignments for you. I'm going to focus on the fact that all of the same thing that the internet maximized, like efficiency wise, when you like
Yeah.
looking and searching for information, like from analog, from library to internet, like that's exactly what ChatGPT does, but like even more efficiently.
That's a
Yeah.
good
Like you
point.
don't have to browse the internet anymore and look yourself. ChatGPT will do that for you. So like if you're under a time, if not even time crunch, if you just want to work like even more efficiently and get the work done faster, it's definitely a good tool for that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. For me personally, I think just like technology, the goal of AI is to just make life simpler and like what you said, much easier.
Yeah.
And I could take that experience personally because I have a lot of readings as a freshman in political economy.
Of course.
And there are a lot of times where I ain't reading all that. So I try my best to not like find a way to make it for me to cheat, but in a way that will help me understand the text so that I can better like just fully understand it. You know what I mean?
I feel like we're also just looking at this from like a student perspective, but like let's think of it like in a general view of like education. So like if you're a teacher, for example, I feel like AI is so useful. It's kind of sad that a lot of like academic professionals will discourage the usage of AI when I feel like there's avenues that it could be really useful. So like for teachers, example, it can give new perspectives, like, and give you like basic information, you know, like on current events, you know. I feel like we can't really count it out, honestly, AI.
Because like I feel like going back to the reputation, it has a reputation for like, oh, every student's secretary, but then let's not discount that.
Yeah,
because
it's useful.
it is useful. Like anybody could use it, not just students, not just in an academic setting, but maybe like even in a professional setting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
But then at the same time, we have to like remember that like there are people who abuse
That's true.
No,
of course.
sure.
They abuse the heck out of AI, and like it does make sense that teachers will warn against using AI
yeah.
because there are people who abuse it. Like as a student, like I know people from like other schools, even other courses entirely, wherein they just for like the basic subjects like Rizal. You know, Rizal is something that it is in our culture. We've
should
been
know.
taught this since high school.
Really?
And it's kind of weird for me that you don't really know some basic information and that they have to rely on ChatGPT. ChatGPT writes their essays for Rizal, something as simple as Rizal. And it's like, I don't know, sorry, that's kind of mean, but then like...
It's shocking.
It's
It's
shocking.
shocking
to
because...
see the extent that people use ChatGPT for.
And like on a personal note, isn't this kind of humiliating?
It is.
That you have artificial intelligence write a personal essay.
Right?
It's not as authentic anymore as how it was used to.
I know someone who, for a reflection paper used AI. No, that is not a reflection paper. that is a bot. Like, it's kind honestly, as a student, I would not admit that something is AI, like something I submitted as an AI, because that is humiliating. It's degrading.
Yeah, just to relate, I have friends who are artists, and because just to branch off a bit, AI art is is popular right now. Corporations are shifting to it. They're opting to use AI rather than hiring actual talented artists for I guess practicality or accessibility. But at the same time, it's just sad and it's humiliating and it's just degrading because we discredit actual talent, right?
Yeah.
Also, isn't there the fear of getting caught?
Oh.
Yeah, of course. Like, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't, of course, use ChatGPT to write my essays. Of course, because of the humiliation aspect. But then I would also like to bring up, I would be scared to get caught using AI to write my essays because, firstly, my mind.
I feel like you have a conscience.
Yeah, we have conscience.
You have
And
conscience.
That, and also, if you do get caught, the repercussions are not only like a sanction, but also further humiliation.
It's as bad as plagiarism.
Yeah, it is. It
in
almost
all
is.
technicality, it should be plagiarism because it's not your
It's
work.
not you, yeah. And like to a certain degree, I've seen this issue online wherein, like related to that, there are students who they write their own essay. They don't use AI, but an AI detector will call it AI. And what protects students from that? Because while there are AI detectors, how can we trust them fully? How do we know they're 100% effective? How do we tell teachers that they're not really, like, how do we warn and disclose to teachers that these AI detectors aren't really reliable? And how can we protect students as well? Like, because like, I could put in my hard effort, but if a teacher is set on it and uses the right technology, they could call my essay AI. It protects me, like it's kind of hard.
Like, who's to say? Like
What am I supposed? Yeah, what are we supposed to say?
On the other hand, I guess it's just the marketing of AI in general, ChatGPT. An example of this is, on TikTok, people will be like, oh, you don't want your AI to be detected by their teachers? Well, just download this AI so that it will make it sound human. And if it doesn't work, you have another attachment, like a Google extension. There's just a lot of attachments. They're just trying to find a way to escape, hard work.
Yeah.
And it just touches upon the idea of how AI is affecting academic integrity, right?
Academic integrity, very important as a student.
Of course. But then, okay, bringing more nuance to the conversation, academic integrity, doesn't ChatGPT, in a way, make information more accessible?
But like, to what extent are we sacrificing integrity for efficiency?
Yeah.
You gotta think about that, because not just in academics, but like in the future when we leave college, we get in the workforce. At what point are we sacrificing, our own integrity that we can call it our work just for the sake of efficiency?
And it's the synthetic truth, because I'm sure most of the AI or the data that they use is somewhat recycled, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Like, it's just probably every day it's updating, right? AI, from the chat, I'm not sure which version, but it keeps updating every time. So it could keep up with the times. But at the same time, how is this gonna be sure that it is authentic and it's actually real?
Yeah, going off of that, like ChatGPT in particular, from what I know, if you've noticed, like you ask it to like explain a certain article, but it's anywhere past September 2021.
Yeah.
Its database isn't updated. It's more like it's developing its
It's intelligence.
like it's intelligence.
Yeah.
It's developing its intelligence, but not necessarily the information that is that's available on the internet. And even so, not all of the things that are available on the internet is available to ChatGPT.
That's true.
So like, information is outdated. The data that you're asking for example, there's a really relevant article that it finds for you in September, early in September, but then actually a year later it was discounted. But you wouldn't know that, and ChatGPT wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
So like, essentially the information that it's giving you, even if it's supposed to be objective, is wrong.
Yeah. It's blind.
It is.
On the other hand, actually, another risk of like AI in general is like it'll take jobs of actual people, because example would be in the field of humanities and arts, and to relate back again, it might take the job of artists, it might take the job of script writers. Like AI is so terrifying. It can produce so many things at once, and it could just replace. According to a talk I watched just yesterday for a subject of mine, 50% of jobs in the future will be in a snap will be gone because of AI. Just take the job, take the roles.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, honestly.
But then I also feel like that this is something I learned from my class. Economic history, shout out Dr. Terosa. Anyways, there's I feel like we have to recognize ChatGPT as a signal of technological innovation.
Oh yeah.
And with technological innovation, everything, including jobs, will innovate as well. That is a key proponent to change in the world. And over history, technological innovation is what signals change. So I feel do you guys feel that the usage of AI right now, the prominence of AI, do you feel that's marking a change in education and academics, not just for students, but in general? Where do you think education will lead in the future?
Okay. For AI, I definitely agree that it's a mark for change, because I think just a few years ago, if you heard about artificial intelligence, it's not something that was necessarily accessible to the public.
Yeah.
It's something that tech companies would use for themselves, and maybe government with the military, artificial intelligence. But then not at one point did you think maybe 8 years ago that we would just be using it to write essays or gather sources for your paper. But then here we are, we're using readily accessible tools such as ChatGPT to work for us. So that just a marker that artificial intelligence is being used by the general public already means that probably behind the scenes something else is going on, something else is developing, and it's going to be available to us in maybe a few years.
As much as it is again, it's a technological advancement, it is still a robot. It is still AI. There's so much more to improve, and there's a lot of things to improve upon and make changes, because it's still a robot. It's something made by humans. But then again, the whole future-esque thing, the system will lead society, that type of thing. But in general, it's just, there's so much improving to do. And I personally, there's times where I need AI to summarize a video for me, but it would just say a prompt I can't do this yet because my system or my algorithm cannot comprehend the link. So
I mean, even if AI has a lot to improve on, it's a robot essentially, I would also like to point out that it's scary how they're able to simulate human creation in a way, because my friend who's in creative writing told me this. She was in a class, I forgot what class, but her literary professor showed them an excerpt of a really heart-wrenching story, and it was breaking everyone's hearts.
Use AI.
Yeah, and then he said, "How do you feel about this?" And they're all giving their thoughts, and then he said, "That was written by artificial intelligence."
Yeah, I think we forget that the essence, the purpose of AI and ChatGPT was to mimic how robots can process and discuss and talk and think like humans. That was the purpose. But then at the same time, as students, I feel it's easy for us to say that when we use AI, it's so easy to tell that is not written. I mean, for a lot, there's a human touch lacking. I think it's more the human intelligence, how we process things. Because I feel when you ask ChatGPT a question, it will give you straight out. Whereas, example, if I ask you a question, you'll give me how you thought of this, your way, how you got to that conclusion, etc., etc. I feel for humans, it's more logical for us to explain. To express how we got there, what we were thinking. Whereas ChatGPT, I feel it really lacks in that department unless you ask for it. But it's still lacking. It's still not the full story. Whereas for us, I feel even if we're talking about simple things, we'll have the need to say more.
Definitely. Because what ChatGPT does not have is that awareness.
Yeah.
Right? Having that like humanness to a person explaining what they believe and what how ideas are expressed. Because these things are backed up with experiences and let's say influences from many external factors. But that's what makes humans authentic. And that's what differentiates ChatGPT works to human works. Because they put effort in it, and these are fueled by ideas and the insights and moments where yes, my experiences are gonna make this creation, and it's gonna change in a small level or even a big level.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. That's like, I mean, in the first place, comparing AI to humans,
It'll never lead anywhere.
it'll never lead anywhere.
Everywhere.
And that
because it's very simple.
Yeah, and in that sense, AI, like you said, was created to mimic human intelligence.
No.
So it doesn't. Its job actually isn't to create anything new. It's supposed to replicate what already exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is only what we give it.
Yeah.
Yes.
AI is only what we give.
Yeah.
Because without the input of like all the general knowledge, all these readings, all basic math, even like basic coding, etc. How would AI know this without us?
Yeah.
Let's be real. AI is not AI
Yeah.
without us.
Because
the
I feel like
creators.
sometimes like people treat AI like it's its own entity.
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
So
girl, you
weird.
gotta remember that humans are who created AI.
Like remember, there's a team behind the AI.
yeah, and they're the ones constantly maintaining it,
Yeah.
and developing the systems.
I mean, in technology in general, like I feel like there's only like a really limited amount of technology that can sustain by itself. Like most technology still can't self-sustain. Like we always have to maintain, we always have to upgrade, you know, like cars,
Exactly.
you know, technology like this. We always have to fix it.
Yeah. But then again, AI's goal is to not only mimic but just imitate humans, right? Because the goal of technology, to repeat again, is that to make life simpler, to make life easier. And for sure, people are just gonna keep updating that until where the system can perfectly mimic, hopefully, like not our emotions. That's scary enough. Like just because of AI, art, the whole idea of the humanities and the art can be just removed because you know a practicality.
Well,
Right?
I'm sure you guys have heard of the SAG-AFTRA strike, and it's over, of course, now. But then, like, upon hearing it for the first time, I was like, "What? This sounds so dystopian."
Yeah.
Like having you do you know the details about
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I'm sure,
like,
actually.
oh, okay. For the
Yeah,
actors,
yeah.
they this is like only one facet of it. It's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
in the arts, right?
Yeah.
So they have people come into the studio and their likeness essentially is captured, and they pay them for that one time to like buy their image, and then
Oh yeah.
God, yeah.
and for every subsequent event or time that they use it in a film or a TV show or whatever, like using their likeness, they're never paid because they bought their image, they bought their organic look.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, who?
Yeah, and there's the writer's part as well,
Yeah.
wherein I know it was one of the conditions when they reached a mutual agreement that
Yeah.
it was in their conditions that that production companies aren't allowed to use AI
Yeah.
to write because that takes away their job as writers.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we also have to like find the balance of like when does AI go too far?
Yeah.
When does it harm like us, not just like personally, like integrity wise, etc., but like on a scale that it impacts like jobs, you know, like ethically we have to think about like how does it not just impact us but impacts everyone else.
Like in a storytelling standpoint, besides like, you know, the part of being employed, there's also that the point of telling a story is to be human.
Yeah.
And like, so if the point of AI is to like improve our lives, to like help us, if it's taking away the job of like someone who is human in the point of telling a story, then that's kind of it contradicts itself.
Yeah, like people in those fields of art and humanities, they have a hard time in itself to get a job.
Yeah.
And now AI is overrunning it. And one of these examples are like, you know, voice actors now. Because of AI
Yeah.
voices around social media.
Exactly.
It's all around. You can find people who can imitate voice actors. And because of this, like game corporations can like, okay, we don't need people anymore. Who needs that? We can just use AI. Because again, they just only need like the voice and they could just interpret it through the AI,
That's
like
true.
with the language. It's crazy.
But you know what's really good is the fact that there are people like the SAG-AFTRA strike, that there are people against this, like we're like really voicing out how this is wrong and that there should be legislation, there should be contracts, there should be
Yeah.
discussions as to prevent everyone from reaching the limits. Like when does it go too far? And then it's good that that a lot of people have it in their head already that this is not good and we shouldn't go too far. And okay, let's bring it back to like our case as students.
Yes.
Like we get it, like we have to, in the integrity papers it says to not use AI,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
like how can we take part also in managing the the agreement that we can't
yeah.
be going too far
That's
as
true.
students.
That is true.
It really just depends on the person. If you really think it's good, then go for it. If you think it's bad, then don't use it. But then again, you just have to remind yourself that this isn't you. What you're passing to the teacher or to the prof, this isn't you. This is a work of an AI.
Yeah.
You're not really the one who put in the effort.
Yeah.
It's like the same wherein like before AI, people
Yeah.
would just cheat.
Yeah.
They would get people to do their papers, they would get people to take their quizzes.
Yeah.
And it's like in the same way, you're gonna graduate being a cheater.
Yeah.
It's the same way if you abuse AI throughout your whole college career, you're gonna graduate like that. You're gonna graduate and do you really know anything? Come on, like think about it.
Yes.
Honestly, be honest with yourself. Honest with yourself and think about it. Do you want to graduate like that? Do you
What-
want to enter the real world like that? It's
Like,
kinda-
what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, you spend, let's say, 4 years or 5 years working with other students who are working as hard, and then you're just there, like, one button. Okay, I'm done. Like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it's like the core of knowing
Yeah.
your work.
Yeah.
It's like what you said, if when you pass it, like you know that's not you.
Oh, no.
You know that's not you, and you know that it's exactly the same as cheating in the way that like when you ask someone to do your work, you know that's not you. Maybe
Yeah.
you ask ChatGPT, might not be a living person, but that's
not you.
yours.
Yeah.
So like knowing objectively like how to maintain your academic integrity, it's not only that fear of getting caught or like just agreeing to the pledge that we
Yeah.
signed, but it's more like, will this really benefit me as a person if I get
Yeah.
an uno
Yeah.
with something that I didn't create, with something I didn't learn from?
I feel like and then another like limit is really like so your AI output, someone who made this paper for you, if you submit that, okay, it's satisfactory, but will it ever be the best?
yeah.
Yeah.
Will it ever be your best? And I think that's like a personal motivation as students. Okay, sure, grades are a personal motivation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we want to be good.
Yeah.
We want to be better at how we think, at what we make. We want to do better. We want to excel.
Yeah.
And like, by using AI, abusing AI, hiring someone to do your work for you, that's not really, you're not improving.
Yeah.
You're still gonna be the same way you are. Because without your own personal effort, it's not there.
Just like to tie it back that ChatGPT isn't the problem. Artificial intelligence isn't the problem. We are.
Abuses.
It's how we use
It's
it.
we are. We are the problem.
We are the problem.
People just stop caring about putting effort
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
over relied on it. And that's the problem when people rely on AI too much and now they're in the real world, like on the spot. Example, they ask you to make a proposal. You can't just AI that because it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like but then as students, I feel like it's so fast paced. I feel like, like school in general, like like especially when you enter college, after the first year, everything goes by so fast, and I think that's what contributes to people like relying on AI,
For sure.
is that they feel overwhelmed with school. They feel overwhelmed with all the requirements. That they just need some help, and I get that. I get it. You need help, but then at the same time, like. You have to remind yourself every now and then, where is the limit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where
It's
does
a
it stop?
self-perpetuating cycle.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cycle,
Like,
Jen, yeah.
the more we're expected of, we're there's a lot of expectations on us. So we try to make those expectations, and we use help AI, and then we're able to make those expectations, and they're like, kaya mo, you can do it. So they ask even more, and it's like, where does this end?
Yeah, they're just trying to find that work-life balance, so-called.
Work-life balance.
because in a student's perspective, as college students, there's a lot to do.
It's very
Right?
integrated. I feel like for students, there's not really a work-life balance. Because like our friends that we make in school
Yeah.
become our real-life friends. It's different because, if you ask like your parents or like your older siblings, in work, they have work friends and
Yeah.
they have real friends. But I feel like it's different because in school, you're really stuck together.
Yeah.
So like your school friends become your lifelong friends. So like, and because of that, it's also like really integrated. So like, there's not really a work-life balance. Like think about it. But that's a different topic. That's an entirely different topic. Is it like we have to remember though? Like I feel like the limit of AI is just where you place yourself.
It depends on you and how you use it.
Depends on you. Yeah.
Because if you limit your users to AI, that's all you need.
But at the same time, you can't discount AI.
Yeah.
It's useful. It boosts efficiency. We can't deny that. Can't deny that.
It makes life so much easier for most of us.
Most of us,
But then again, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, of course.
It depends on how you use it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's 50. And because of that, we just have to learn how to balance that. So
like to sum it up, guys, I feel like we've all reached the same mindset that AI, it has good aspects, you know,
Yes.
helps us. It really does. Or like 10 readings, easy. I can digest that in a day because of AI.
Yeah.
You know, looking up references that would have taken me like 3 days. You know, like 20 minutes, an hour max. And it's like, and it's really, we can't discount the fact that AI is a mark of innovation, technological advancement.
Yes.
Like, we have to think about, I feel like we're so used to it, but now, like, internet is a norm for us.
Yeah.
Whereas for our parents, they relied on going to the library to get references.
Yeah.
I feel like in a few years, AI will be the norm.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would just like people to leave this conversation with, like, AI isn't the enemy, AI isn't the protagonist.
Yes.
It's a tool.
We are.
It's a
It's
tool.
a tool,
But
and we
who
are.
uses the tool? Us. So it really depends on how you use it. Abusing it really is, I don't know, it depends per person, but abusing it can really damage not just you, but it can damage like everyone's reputation,
Yes.
It can make a teacher look at the whole class differently. Yeah.
What matters is our intentions and what we use AI for. So, guys, thank you for watching and tuning into our podcast, and good morning.
Goodbye.
Are we supposed to like? I don't know.
Once again, what matters is our true intentions, how we use AI. Once again, I'm Kei Tagabucba.
And I am Icy Suarez.
And I am Michelle Avila. Thank you for listening.
Tuning.